Hello everybody, welcome back. Omega Given here. Today we're going to be going over a new commander that's not been seen on EDH Rec. It is the little Lily Bowen Raging Grandma. It's a Fallout series card. Yes, I love Fallout. I'm a lover of Fallout stuff. And we'll get to that deck, but first let me give a shout out to our sponsor, myself, with these awesome commander deck boxes that you can get on Etsy. If you want to go check out my Etsy page, I sell these over on Etsy. They have some pretty cool, it's kind of hard to get the lighting right. There we go, you can see it, like really cool artwork pieces on it, so you can get some really cool things like that. This box in particular is going to be a $35 box. I don't know if I've listed it on Etsy quite yet, but it'll be up there very soon. But there's some other boxes you can get that have really cool things. So go check that out on Etsy to help support the channel. And with that nice advertisement there of my stuff, let's get right to the deck. So, we have Lily Bowen Raging Grandma. It's a 4-cost for a 0/0 with Vigilance. And Lily Bowen Raging Grandma enters the battlefield with 2 +1 counters on it. So, yes, this is a +1 counter deck. Lots of +1s going on here, and a little bit of rad, a little bit of proliferate. Actually, not that much proliferate, but just a lot of +1s and a little bit of rad. All right, so but she has the ability. I guess that's Grandma. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1 counters on Lily Bowen if its power is 16 or less. So it only doubles when its power is 16 or less. So I guess 16 +1 counters, and or if there's like toughness things in there, who knows. Otherwise, remove all but one +1/+1 counter from it, and you gain 1 life for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. I just think this is a very interesting mechanic. I've never seen this in Magic the Gathering, so this will be a very interesting mechanic where you just get tons of +1s, and if you get too many, you go back down and you get a bunch of life. So it's kind of like a life gain, but also +1s. So kind of interesting, We'll see how this runs. So basically, this whole deck I built, it's a commander deck, 100 cards. This whole deck that I built is kind of every mono green. It's a mono green deck, a mono green Fallout card thrown in here with a few artifacts I think would be like pretty good synergy. And then I think there's about 20 or 30 maybe it's more like 20 non-Fallout cards in it. So I'm trying to make these decks a little bit Fallout themed, but when I need to fill cards, I'm going to add synergy cards in there. As you can see on the right here, I have Wildwood Scourge, which actually this is a sideboard. But like you have cards like that in here that's not Fallout, but it does add synergy to the thing because it's a +1 counter kind of thing. All right, let's go over some of the artifacts and stuff. Of course, artifacts are all of the cool Fallout artifacts. We have the camp, which adds the +1 counters to target creatures, and those creatures that share mana color, produce land, they create a junk token. So basically creating some like artifact junk token stuff as well as +1 counters. Junk tokens, if you don't know, are really good because you can basically exile like the top card of your library and be able to play that. So it's like extra play. It's not card draw, but it's like kind of equivalent where you can play additional card per turn, possibly. We have some other fun stuff here, basically expert safe, which is kind of like the same thing where you can like pull some cards out of the top of your library and maybe play them if you get a luck roll off right, I guess. It's not really a luck roll, it's kind of just you're guessing numbers and such. It's kind of interesting. Nuka Cultivating Machine, food tokens, just, I don't know, I just have a subtle undertone of tokens or like artifact tokens in my decks just because it's kind of fun to have them. And Nuka Cultivating Machine is going to be a really cool card. We got Pip-Boy, which is going to be really good, get +1 counters on creatures, draw if you need the draw, or untapping lands to get stuff. All right, so that's going to be helpful there. We got Power Fist, basically whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put +1 counters on it. Perfect, +1 counter, like increasing. Silver Shroud costume, great for some nice protection for when you first cast Silver Shroud, and great after that for just make it so your creatures don't get blocked. So this deck is kind of Voltron-y a little bit. Like, your grandma is gonna be Voltron like attacking because you're gonna get up to 16 power or more, and then attacking and then going back down to 1 and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting. Survivor Med Kit is good for some card draw in here, and also for if you don't like rad counters, and rad counters are kind of like, I don't know, on you as you're doing rad counters a little bit throughout this deck, that'll be helpful. But mainly it's for the card draw. That card draw is kind of nice. Just 1 tap for card draw is pretty good. All right, now counter creatures. We got a bunch of counter creatures here. We got Branching Evolution. If one or more +1 counters we put on a guy, you basically put twice that many +1s. So that's pretty powerful because oftentimes you might have like that many +1/+1 counters, so it's only like 1 additional. But this is twice that many +1 counters. So you're doubling your grandma's +1 counters just on like the first doubler. This one doubles it again. So like say your grandma's at 10 and it doubles. That's gonna go to 20, but this one, you know, twice as many. So you put like 10 and then you'll put another 20. So you're gonna have a 30-30 grandma. Of course it will go back down to 1, but you just gain 30 life basically. Pretty good, pretty good. Branching Evolution's a solid card here. That's like in the Fallout series. You can see there's a Fallout card. I think this might be a reprint. I can't remember which ones are reprints, which ones aren't at this point. Forgotten Ancient. I think this is one of those cards that isn't part of the Fallout series, but it's really good. You know, when you get cast some green spells or some other spells, you get the +1 counters on him, and you know you can just move some +1 counters between guys and such. Hardened Scales, awesome. Basically enchantment. If +1 counters, that +1. So you just put another +1 counter. Might as well. You always want those +1s. Basically same thing. Double the number of +1s on that creature. Yeah, this is another doubler, so your grandma's gonna be really raging in this deck, so it's gonna be kind of fun there. All right, Ivy Lane Denizen. Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield, put a +1 counter on target creature, so you get to put the +1s on other creatures as well. Loyal Guardian. This is for if you have commander out, like you have your grandma out, you put a +1 counter on each creature you control. So everything has +1s at this point. Nice creature, nice creature. Ozolith, the Shattered Spire, pretty good card. Gets +1 counters on basically artifacts or creatures you control, and just put another +1. Just get more +1s, and also tap if you have extra mana, just tap and get another +1 on something. We got some Surak and Goreclaw. Other creatures you control have trample, which is nice because they're gonna get really big, so you need to get them trample on the field to deal some damage over that Voltroniness. All right, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield and you control, put a +1 counter on it. So everything starts with the +1 counter. That's gonna be nice. We have Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig. Enters the battlefield with 4 +1 counters on it. Whenever another green creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter on him. Then if that creature's power is greater than him, put another +1 counter on him. So basically he has a chance of getting 2 +1s, but we don't have that many creatures that are that powerful, so that probably won't trigger too many times. Bighorn Rancher. This is just some mana boost here. Not really too much anything crazy for +1s. Just it's a Fallout card. Gotta put a Fallout card in here and just get some ramp in there. Cathedral Acolyte. Basically, each creature you control with a counter on it, aka +1 counters. They all have ward, which is gonna help protect your creatures a little bit. And then you can tap him to put a +1 counter on a creature that entered the battlefield this turn. So that's kind of nice. The EDE Lonesome Eyebot. This one I just threw in here because quest counters, so it's like kind of a counter thing. It's not necessarily +1s, but if you do, I think there's 1 or 2 cards in here that proliferate, so that kind of maybe helps him out a little bit, but it's really not that much. It's like a subtle undertone. I just thought might as well put some guys with flying, so he has flying. So that's kind of nice. Glowing 1, 3 for a 2/2 Death Touch. Whenever he deals combat damage to the player, they get 4 rad counters. So these aren't +1s, but it's rad counters, which helps, mill some people out, maybe deal a little bit of damage, maybe, and I gain a little bit of life, maybe. So there's a subtle life gain in this deck, so that'll be kind of interesting. Next we have Gunner Conscript, 2 for a 2/2 trample. He gets +1 counter for each aura and equipment attached to it. There is a few auras and equipments in this deck, so maybe he'll get some +1s on there. This is actually not a +1 counter. It's just Anthem +1s. And then if he dies, you create a junk token, and if it was equipped, create a junk token, stuff like that. So pretty good stuff. Harold and Bob for Newmans. This isn't too this is kind of some rad counters, and it's a Fallout card, so I threw it in here, just mono green. So, you can pull this card out and synergize with something better, but it's just a fun little card in here. All right, let's go on to the next one. Lumbering Mega Sloth. Okay, here's one of our big guys. He's a 10 or 12 total with 2 greens, 10, 2 greens for an 8/8, but he costs 1 less for each counter among permanents or players and permanents. So this is gonna be dirt cheap, basically by mid game if you have enough +1 counters. He's going to be super cheap. You're going to be able to pull him out, and you have an 8/8 with trample. He does enter the battlefield tapped, which is kind of sad, but he's going to be a big guy. He's going to be a big boy. Next we have Rampaging Yaogwai. I guess that's how you pronounce it, Yaogwai. It's a 3 with X. Vigilance Trample. It enters with X +1 counters on it. It's a 2/2 just base power, so that's going to be really nice for your +1s. And then enters the battlefield to destroy any number of target artifacts and or enchantments with total value X. So it's basically a kill and a creature that has stuff. It's pretty dang good. I don't know. If he was a commander, I'd like to make him commander, to be honest. All right, then we have Strong the Brutish Thespian. It's a 6 for a 7/7. So that by itself is pretty good with Ward 2, so he's like, hard to target. But whenever he is dealt damage, you get 3 rad counters and put 3 +1 counters on him, on Strong. I just noticed that just says Strong dot. It doesn't say himself. That's interesting. But okay, you gain life rather than lose life from radiation. So he's gonna be helpful for your radiation stuff because radiation will deal damage to you if you if it triggers and everything. But this makes it so you can gain some health from it. So there's this subtle undertone of rad counters. I love rad. I don't know. I just love all these new follow mechanics. All right, Super Mutant Scavengers. It's 5 for a 5/5 trample. And, whenever it enters battlefield dies, return up to 1 artifact, equipment, or whatever from your graveyard to your hand. So that's going to be helpful if, they die from something. Who knows? Yeah, stuff like that. Potato Farmer, 3 for a 1/4. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you might get 2 rad counters. This is if you choose to do 2 rad counters, I guess. Put target land in your graveyard that was milled this turn onto the battlefield under your control tapped. So this is like a very subtle undertone of getting some lands out. It's like a very weird roundabout way to get some lands, but sure, I guess. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I threw it in here because I thought it'd be a very interesting little combo. Watchful Ragstag. This is a 3 for a 2/2 with Evolve, so +1 counters. And when he evolves, you create a token copy of it. So hopefully you'll get a bunch of Watchful Radstags to be able to defend yourself a little bit. Maybe that's kind of hopefully the thing that duplicates a bunch. That'll be fun. All right, we have some card draw because you always need some card draw to be able to maintain a strong deck. We got Guardian Project, which basically makes it so whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it doesn't have the same name, you basically get to draw a card. So that's basically everything. It's just it draws a bunch. Harmonize, you get to draw some. Inspiring Call, you get to +1 counters and they get indestructible to end of turn, so that's pretty nice. Mystic Forge. I feel like I should probably rush through these because I got a lot of other cards to go through here, but basically a bunch of +1 counter stuff, so this is really helpful, and some card draw. So +1 counters and card draw, super awesome. We got some enchantments. We got a few enchantments here just to help get some +1 counters like this. Well Rested. Sprung Back is the subtle undertone of enchantment auras we have in this deck because there's a big undertone of enchantment auras in all of the Fallout decks. Does kind of help. Court of Garenbrig. This is not in the Fallout series, but adds a lot of +1s and Monarch. It's a little bit expensive card, so you could replace this out if you're trying to actually build this deck in the future. But yeah, some fun stuff. Animal Friend, also really good enchantment aura. They get some +1 counters. And animal friends, squirrels. Yeah, we like squirrels. I like squirrels. All right, Champion of a Lamboat gives you +1 counters. Rancor, basically just enchantment aura. It doesn't really have too much synergy with this deck, so you could take this out and swap it with something better. But yeah. Arch Druid Charm, basically just, get some land or a +1 counter. Not too much crazy. It's just helpful every now and then. Breakdown, just a kill spell for other people's artifacts or enchantments. And your lands for turn, tons of lands. You got Proliferate, 1 Proliferate card. Yes, we only have 1 Proliferate. More Proliferate would be nice, but I didn't feel like searching for more. So we got this guy. We got some protection, get some protection stuff for you guys. We got some pump stuff, get some pump stuff going for you guys. Just get the double strike with your counters. Pretty helpful and everything. Ramp, we got a lot of ramp here. We don't need to go over ramp because the ramp is just ramp. You just get a lot more mana. Stuff like that. Removal. Yes, Death has a lifelink. We gotta get some more artifacts like that. Tokens at Squirrel Nest. I just love Squirrel Nest, so we threw Squirrel Nest in here. All right, but yeah, that is the Raging Grandma deck. I gotta say, I'm just super excited to play this with this deck. I have all of the cards in the mail basically, so it'll be fun to play with this deck with my buddies, or I just play it on Architect, which not a sponsor of this channel, but I gotta give a shout out. Architect is a great website if you want to go and build your decks before you even buy them or anything, just to see how they run. You can see if there's errors and stuff like that, which is just legal technically, whatever stuff if you're playing CDH or competitive or not. But yeah, go and check it out, and you can just also check your salt sum. We are not too salty with this deck, so we're lucky here. Thank you for watching, everybody. Go and check out our Etsy page, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.